I lay a futon down in the living room and place Ilya on it. Even though she's unconscious, Ilya's face looks calm and there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with her. Hey, don't look away. The bandage will slide off. She hits my back. Ow! Tosaka! That's no way to treat a wounded guy. Shut up. I'm treating your wound, so be quiet for a while. Here, raise your right hand. I don't think it's necessary, but I'll put some medicine on it as well. It's cold. It's fine if you can feel. Here, we'll wrap this up next. She skillfully wraps the bandage around my right shoulder. It's past 10. Oh no, it's past our bedtimes! Gosh darn it! After returning to the living room, Tosaka started to treat my wounds. She started, but the wounds have mostly already healed, so all that's left is to treat them just for the show. Done? But you sure do have a strange body. Yeah, dude, Tosaka, what you want to know about it, eh? Only vampires have bodies with such healing powers. So here we go with the vampires again. There's so much like weird nods to like the different versions. Or there's not nods to different versions. God, okay. So there's like different versions of the game, and like the ones that are on like the Vita and stuff. All the sex scenes are replaced with vampires. So like stuff about vampires, which is I mean, that's fairly consistent because, you know, vampires throughout history are kind of sexual creatures, and sucking blood is like a form of sex for them. So I've always found that interesting. At least that's what I learned from Being Human. If you have not seen Being Human, you have to see Being Human. Are you really human? I think she asked me something similar a while ago. Hey, I'm a normal human being. I don't even know how this is happening, so I can't give you an answer. Baka, don't play with me. Would a normal human be up and running after they've had their spinal cord cut? I never asked because it was useful, but it's getting too freaky now. Maybe you're from some place where people can only be killed by decapitation. Ah, like Blade of the Immortal. The worst part is Tosaka is seriously considering that. She might come after my neck one day with an axe in hand. Or something else in hand, you know what I'm saying? What else would she have? I don't know. Gotta make everything sexual. Hey, don't you think so? Don't you think so too, Saber? I think you're the cause, but it's still too far beyond human. Huh? Shiro's healing power is not his own? I know, they're all dumbfounded. It's like, Saber's is like, I thought it was this, but it's not this. Of course not. Do you think someone who only knows strengthening magic could do such high-class magic? His absurdity must come from being connected with you. I can only guess that your healing power is flowing into him. Is that so? I've never felt such a connection. If that were the case, my magical energy should be flowing to Shiro even more now. Okay. If that were the case, my magical energy should be flowing to Shiro even now. More importantly, my healing power is not as strong as Shiro. Saber? Why the sudden pale face? Saber is staring into space as if she can't hear Tosaka. Oh god. No, it cannot be. Shaking her head, Saber looks away. Oh god, what depressing thing? Am I dying? Is Shiro dying? Oh god. Saber's like, you know, one of the things, Shiro, I learned as King Arthur was, I'm a really good doctor, and that mole, you have cancer, Shiro. I should be making fun of that, but I'm not really making fun of it. Well, whatever. Tosaka and I look at each other. Saber's acting strange. No, I know why. Saber's spirit has been low since that golden knight appeared. Well, let's put the matter of Shiro on hold. More importantly, Saber, did you know that gold guy? He was saying you were with us. Or, he was saying you were his. Saber doesn't answer. It's obviously something she doesn't want to talk about. but I still want to know. Tosaka's question is mine as well. Saber, tell me if you know. Who was that guy? You called him Archer. Yes, I do not wish to admit it, but I do know him. But it is impossible. There are only 7 servants. He cannot be summoned. Servants. So, he is a servant. No, that's obvious. But in that case, there's a big problem. He is of class Archer. Of course, he is not the Archer who Marine made a contract with. His abilities and character are too different. I know that too. It only lasted a short while, but I was able to feel how much of a monster he was. Hold on, that's not right. If he's the servant Archer, that makes 8. 7 should be the limit of the summons in a single period. Blah! After all, even the Holy Grail doesn't have the magical energy to summon more than 7. There are 7 servants because that's the basic limit, right? Then how can they summon an 8th? Hold on. Saber, you met with him in the previous war? Yes, Reen. On the last day of the previous Holy Grail War, I fought against him in a sea of fire. I fell down to a burning sea of fire. Well, that changes the meaning of that song quite a bit. My body tenses up for an instant. Saber fought him in a sea of fire? It's nothing new. Kotomine already told me that the fire was caused by the Holy Grail War. So this shouldn't be a surprise. It's just, I was unconsciously trying not to think about it until now. What happened? Did you beat him? No, I did not. No, I couldn't beat him because You were beaten instead? He's someone you couldn't beat even when you were properly summoned. Saber hangs her head and doesn't answer. That pretty much answers her question. Saber couldn't win. Not just the imperfect Saber as she is now, but Saber with her full power? Is that even possible? If you look at her skill as a swordsman, Saber certainly is invincible. Admittedly, Saber was the weaker against Berserker, but Saber has that noble phantasm. The noble phantasms of other servants are powerful, but Saber's exceeds even them. I don't think there's any hero she can't beat using her holy sword. And there's only one possible explanation. He's not a servant summoned in the war, but a servant that remains from the previous one. It only makes sense when that's true. My mind stops. It's not that I agree with Tosaka, but what she said matches what I've been hoping for since yesterday. But that's the only possible explanation. What is that look, Tosaka? Why are you making that face while you're looking at me, saying those words? Calm down! Sorry. That's the only possible explanation. Only 7 servants can be summoned to each Holy Grail War. If there are any other servants, they must be the winner of the previous Holy Grail War. Am I wrong? A heavy silence. But why is she in such a good mood? Oh, she is kind of got a little bit of a smirk on her. Tosaka, what are you so happy about? Of course I'm happy. There's a precedent. I don't know who he is, but he's the guy who won the last Holy Grail War, right? Then he must have attained the Holy Grail, and he's staying in this world because of its blessing. In other words, he's proof that you can keep your servant in this world if you obtain the Holy Grail. I want to capture him and question him about it. Yeah, you're right. I don't know who he is, but he's a servant, and he's still here after the previous war. That means there's a way for Saber to stay in this world like him. And then what else you gonna do, Shiro? Huh? What you gonna do with Saber? Well, we don't know who he is or what his motive is, but I'm sure he's an enemy we'll need to defeat. Or we can make out with him, you know what I'm saying? We go both ways, ain't that right, Shiro? Oh god. So Saber, What's his true identity? I do not know. Even at the end, I could not tell you who he was. That hero did not have a noble phantasm symbolic of him. He doesn't have a symbolic noble phantasm. That can't be true. A servant without a noble phantasm can't be a servant. And besides, Yeah, he was using so many. It should be easy to work out his true identity with so many noble phantasms. You just need to identify the appropriate hero for them. Then let me ask you, did you not recognize any of those holy noble... Then did you recognize any of those noble phantasms? Of course, let's see. Tosaka ponders. She thinks for about a minute, but then she tilts her head in confusion. No way, that's impossible. What's wrong, Tosaka? What's impossible? I can't believe it. The bloody one was probably Dainsleif, and the one like a sickle was Herp. There was one that looked Chinese and another that looked like a Buddha thing. Tosaka looks crazy talking to herself. I guess this is what you call digging yourself a hole. That one was similar to Saber's sword, but it should be different. It seems like it's from Northern Europe, judging from its simple design, and most forms of demonic sword are from Northern Europe, but... She starts to grit her teeth. Hey, Tosaka. There's no point in leaving her like that. I have to stop her now or there'll be some damage. I don't need to add that I'll be the one damaged. Tosaka? Tosaka, come back! Jeez, be quiet, Shiro! I'm getting confused because you're bothering me! This has to be the thumbnail, right? This gotta be the thumbnail. Look at her. She's got... I don't even know how to describe it. It's just great. I'm not trying to disturb you. It's about his noble phantasm, right? I saw Dainsleif here. Herpe, Durandal, Vadra, and Koladbolg. Oh, and I saw Gaybolg. It's the only Gaybolg you ain't gonna see. You gotta... Hey! I couldn't identify the Chinese one, but those are the most famous ones, right? You're right. I'm hurt if she makes a face like that. I'm not knowledgeable, but it just popped into my head. What does that mean? No hero has that many noble phantasms. No, more importantly, the sources are all different. I don't understand it. Yes, that is why I could not tell his true identity. He has an abundance of noble phantasms, the proofs of a hero. I could not narrow down his true identity because he had so many. The two ponder. Well, there's certainly no way to tell if he has that many. It's like hiding a tree in a forest or something. Shiro, do you have anything? She glares at me. Yeah, she's definitely taking it out on me. Have what? Anything you noticed or guessed? Anything that popped into your head? What we need are unexpected opinions. Only accidents solve a deadlock situation. She might be right. I see, you're making fun of me, right? Don't be rude, I just think you're useless. So, do you have anything? Nothing. I give up honestly. God darn it. How is that not the best thing you've seen all day? Tosaka groans in regret. Then there's only one answer. Saber, don't you think they're all fakes? Nothing else can explain it. I feel the same way, however. No, they are not fakes. How did they arrive at that answer? First of all, he wouldn't have been able to pierce Castor with fake noble phantasms. Oh. What do you have? What do you base that on, Emiya-kun? I'm saying those are real. Rather, everything else seems fake. Huh? Well, it's just my intuition. Well, It's hard to explain, but those are all real. Lancer's gay bulg is real, but I think the gay bulg he used is real as well. It's harder to explain if she makes a face like that. Forgetting that, why did I think that? It's just that all the things he used were noble phantasms. I can feel that. Is it because I used projection against Berserker? I could tell why they were real noble phantasms, but just by looking at them I could. Conception dwells in superior weapons, and something is missing from weapons that merely imitate them in shape. I realized that when I imitated Saber's sword, but by that argument, I think that all the noble phantasms he used were perfect. Oh, no kitty. Well, putting what Shiro said aside, as we don't know his true identity, his objective is next. Tosaka sneaks a glance at Saber. We already know he's after the Holy Grail, but there's one other point I'm curious about. Can I ask you directly, Saber? Man, why does she put up that really evil smile when it comes to this kind of subject? What do you mean, Rin? You do not need to hold back if you wish to ask me something. What is that smug look? Really? Did I ask you? What do you think of him? From the way he spoke, it seemed like he really has the hots for you. Hey! I'm not following Tosaka's lead, but I sneak a glance at Saber. Tosaka is saying it wrong, but it's true he was attached to Saber. No, it wasn't that nice. He saw Saber as his and only his. I do not care what he thinks about, but I remember that he did propose marriage to me in the previous war. Naturally, I deflected it with my sword. Marriage? You mean... What? What? What is that servant thinking? Wow, I don't know if you should be happy in this case, but you don't feel too bad about it, right? You must be happy as a woman to be proposed to even after you became a servant. That is not true. I have no such freedom to begin with. My goal is to obtain the Holy Grail. Honestly, such nonsense irritates me. Really? Even if you feel that way, he was pretty into you. His type doesn't care much that they're rejected. You're stubborn too, so he might be a good match for you. I don't know what's so funny, but Tosaka's words are irresponsible. Tosaka seems to be happy to be talking to Saber about this kind of thing. Saber seems to have no interest. But I am telling you that I have no interest in such a thing. He is certainly a superior heroic spirit, but this way of thinking is too different from mine. Saber answers honestly. God damn it, Tosaka. Look at her face! This is the episode of Tosaka faces right here. This is where you get peak, and I'm peak Tosaka. Oh, did you hear that, Shiro? Saber has no interest in men. Are you relieved? Rin, I believe that is of no concern to Shiro. Your statement is a little strange. I would think so. That was a mistake on my part, but the strange part is the funny part. Tosaka laughs evilly. God. Do you think Saber wants to, destroy Rin right now with her sword? Just end her. Her eyes seem to be laughing not only at Saber, but at me as well. What are you doing, cat? Meow? What up? Oh, what do you need? Do you want to scratch on the noggin, Mr. Kitty? I'm recording a video right now. I mean, I know you interrupt them all the time, but I can't really do anything to help you. It irritates me for some reason, and I stand up. Huh? Where are you going, Shiro? Tea. I'm thirsty. I'll get some for everyone while I'm at it. I spit that out and go to the kitchen. I don't know why, but I'm so irritated, so I think I'll prepare extra bitter tea for Tosaka. Good. Tosaka deserves it. Then I'll go back to my room. Let's have the complicated talk tomorrow after Ilya wakes up. After messing a lot with Saber, she drinks the bitter tea and stands up. Yeah, go to sleep. Don't come back. Yeah, I'll leave the rest to you then. I don't know what's so funny, but Tosaka leaves in a good mood. What are you going to do, Shiro? You should not push yourself even if your wounds have healed, so I think you should rest for tonight. Yeah, that's my plan, but I'll watch over Ilya for a bit longer. I'll move her to her room if there doesn't seem to be any problem, and I'll go to bed after that. I see that I shall accompany you. Our conversation ends there. It gets really awkward once it's quiet, as Tosaka was the loud one. No, awkward isn't the right word. There are things I'm worried about and things I need to say, so my mind is impatient. Come to think of it, what I want to tell her is all in a mess. About the Holy Grail, about her still being alive. Even if she does obtain the Holy Grail, there's no salvation for the girl called Arturia. I don't even need to say why. She has no wish for herself even now. Saber, about what we were discussing before. What does this look? Our eyes meet. Her awkward eyes seem to know what I'm going to say. Yes. What is it, Shiro? She tries to block my question with a calm voice. But I have to tell her. About what you were saying earlier. Tosaka said it to the servants. Tosaka said it too, that's... This is the episode of Flubs. Tosaka said it too that servants can stay if they obtain the Holy Grail, right? Then... No, I have no intention of staying here. I will return to my original time once I obtain the Holy Grail. And you're going to redo the selection of the king? You're going to start everything over and not save yourself on the verge of death? Right. It is my duty of a king to protect the country. My powers were not enough, so I must at least select an appropriate king in my place. Her words really make me angry. You idiot, wake up! The duty of the king doesn't matter. You're here, so you should do what you want now. You're strong, right? Then finish this battle quickly, attain the Holy Grail, and quit being a servant. If you have a wish, don't go to the... If you have a wish, don't go to the past and redo everything. If you want to change yourself, don't change the past, but change who you are now. Saber doesn't answer. She gives a small sigh. You are obstinate, Shiro. I want you to stop bringing this up. She firmly rejects my opinion. And it is not as if one can stay if one obtains the Holy Grail. Archer, that servant does not remain in this time because of the Holy Grail. It was impossible for anyone to obtain the Holy Grail in the last war. Saber, what is that? It is impossible to attain. It is impossible to obtain that which does not exist. On that day, when the town was in flames, the Holy Grail was destroyed by the masters who betrayed me, Imiya Kuritsugu. My vision closes in. I hold my body steady with my hands as it's about to fall. Imiya Kuritsugu? Yes, he was my master 10 years ago in the previous Holy Grail War. I won to the end, and the Holy Grail came into Kuritsugu's hands. Archer and his master still remain, so the Holy Grail War should have ended by their defeat. But Kuritsugu threw the Holy Grail War away. As a result, the town went into flames. That man ordered me to destroy the Holy Grail because servants are the only ones that can touch the Holy Grail. Kuritsugu used his last command spell to force me to destroy the Holy Grail. Servants cannot stay in this world once the Holy Grail disappears. Kuritsugu did not try to keep me here either. My memory ends there. I could not ask him about the betrayal, nor settle my match against Archer. Well, it's not like I never thought about it. Father was a magus. If he lived in this town all his life, he must have been involved in the Holy Grail War. But still, Why didn't you tell me that my father was a master, Saber? Usually, a servant does not hold memories of previous summonings. The same hero will not be summoned as a servant again. I am an exception to this rule, so I believed I should not mention this fact to you, Shiro. And I did not wish to tell you what kind of master Kiritsugu was. Why wouldn't you want to tell me? Shiro, as you have seen in my past in your dreams, I also saw your past. No, Mr. Kitty, you can't. You can, this is where my computer goes. It's not where you go. I was surprised by your past, but I could not believe how much Kiritsugu had changed. Emiya Kiritsugu is a great person in your memories, but he is not like that in mine. To state it simply, he was a typical Magus. He was only interested in his objectives, and he eliminated everything in his way. I could not see any human emotion in him. He only spoke to me 3 times during the whole war. I do not think I need to tell you when he spoke to me. He was not cruel, nor a born killer. He did not have anything that you would call emotion. Just as he treated me only as a tool, he treated himself only as an object. Kiritsugu killed every emotion and killed every enemy. I do not know what he believed in to make him do so, but he ordered me to destroy the Holy Grail when it was in front of him. To be honest, I have never cursed the command spell or a master who has betrayed me more than I did at that time. There's some truth in Saber's words. No, they must all be true. Come to think of it, I don't know what Kiritsugu was like before that time 10 years ago. I couldn't guess anything about him before that, and I saw no need to learn about such things. It doesn't change a thing even if Kiritsugu was cold-hearted. The man that adopted me was really childlike, so my memories is my only truth. But what hurts my heart is, if Kiritsugu was really a cold person, his last moments were just too empty. I see. Maybe I was able to summon you because I'm his son. I do not know. Kiritsugu summoned me in a legitimate way. As Kiritsugu's aptitude as a master was high, he was hired by a Magus family with a long history and entered the Holy Grail War. I heard that everything he needed to become a master was provided by that family. They had excavated King Arthur's artifact from Cornwall and gave it to Kiritsugu to use in the Holy Grail War. Kiritsugu used it as a catalyst to summon me. So, Kiritsugu himself does not have any factor to summon me, nor is his attribute close to mine. He probably summoned me because of some other factor. I get that. It's not too surprising that father used to be a master. What's surprising is that his servant was King Arthur, the one standing in front of me right now. And one more thing. Saber said that the Holy Grail was destroyed. Then, isn't this war completely meaningless? I don't get it. You already knew there's no Holy Grail anymore, right? So why did you decide to take part in this ridiculous battle? I certainly do not know if the Holy Grail actually exists, but it would be strange for there to be no Holy Grail if I am summoned. Have you forgotten, Shiro? I became a servant to obtain the Holy Grail. To put it another way, I will not be summoned unless the Holy Grail is present. Well then, the Holy Grail can restore itself even if it's destroyed? No, the Holy Grail is not something easily replaceable. It will be impossible for a destroyed Holy Grail to be restored. But it should exist. Servants are summoned since they are drawn to the Holy Grail. Servants do not exist if there is no Holy Grail. That priest said so as well. Priest. Oh, him. The supervisor of the Holy Grail War living at the church. That man that manages the Holy Grail must be the answer to all of my questions. The end of the previous war, what happened to the destroyed Holy Grail and to the servant Archer? And yes, what did Kiritsugu see at the end of the battle to make him destroy the Holy Grail? I wake up alone. Even if she has recovered, Saber still has to sleep periodically. Saber went to bed right away after that, and I went to bed too to relieve Saber. You relieve Saber? You know what I'm saying? That was an hour ago. It's past midnight. I'll be able to sneak out without Saber or Tosaka finding out now. I go out without making a sound. I thought about using the bicycle, but it'd be a problem if I wake them up by doing so. I guess I'll walk there. Soundtrack's really good. There's no one around. Even if it is midnight, this silence is abnormal. The air is frozen and I can't sense life from any of the buildings. On the other hand, I feel a contradictory heat under the road as if there's a whirlpool or something black. Has something happened to the town in this past few days? While I was held at Ilia's place? Feels like ill omens are everywhere. And it's not just me. I look up at the mountain in the distance. The Ryudo Temple, which is far away from the city, just looks like a black lump from there. It's just that it seems like it's throbbing along with the night wind. Walking on the bridge. Across the dark river and walk to Shinto. That's right. It's already been 10 days since then. That day. That night I first met Saber and walked on this bridge with Tosaka seems like so long ago. I see the church. I've never been to the church, even though I told Tosaka that. I do have a connection to it. I was supposed to be entrusted to the church and adopted somewhere later. The Emiya household, or the church. Come to think of it, it was a big turning point. 10 years ago, all the children in that hospital were orphans, and they were all temporarily entrusted to the church. I was the only one of them adopted from the hospital. That must be why. I felt kind of guilty and unconsciously avoided the church. That's why I told Tosaka it was my first time visiting the church on the night 11 days ago. The lights in the church are still on. I don't like that priest, but there's something I need to ask him. Well, let's go. I take a deep breath and go through the heavy doors. Priest Kotomine, are you here? I keep on walking while I call out. I can't sense anyone in the chapel. Even though the lights are on, it's so big and quiet that I feel more afraid than I would in complete darkness. Hey, is anyone here? There's no reply. I can't go in any farther, so maybe I should give up and go home for tonight. I instantly turn toward the sound. Hey, it's Kotomine. So it is, Imiyashiro. What are you doing here at this time? Sudden encounter leaves me speechless. It is late. I was going to sleep, but your expression suggests that you seek confession here. It is late. Oh wait, she is. Kotomine says so and returns to the door he emerged from. Oh, no, wait, I had something I wanted to ask you. I know. I will not turn anyone away, even if they come at odd hours. So saying, Kotomine opens the door to the back of the chapel. There is his game room, and he has all of the games. And he says, Shiro, do you want to come in here and never leave? And that's how he beats Shiro. He just has like a huge game room, and he's like, yeah, but it's really just like, yeah. Bad jokes. Follow me! I'm sure it has to do with the Holy Grail War. I cannot have us talk about such bloody subjects here. Kotomine disappears into the back without a reply. I've come this far, so I can't go back empty-handed. I renew my determination not to be intimidated by Kotomine and follow him. Let's do this. Wow, the outside that was brilliant, but the inside is exquisite as well. Is this a courtyard? There's a park and passageway that seem too elegant for Kotomine to live in alone. What are you doing? Come here if you have something to talk about. The priest turns yet another corner. Damn, he really doesn't wait. I follow him, complaining. The church is like a small maze, so I have to follow him obediently. This is where I'm fine. It's a modest room made of stone. This, an elegant room, seems to be Kotomine's. Oh, Jesus! Kotomine. He's huge. I'm unfortunately out of alcohol. I have nothing to welcome you with, but forgive me. Kotomine says so while sitting down. Is this the faint smell of wine? He must really like it if the smell is lingering in this room. Does he just get drunk all the time? What? Did you not have something to talk to me about? Is it bothersome if you just stand there dumbfounded? I'm not dumbfounded, I was just surprised by this room, and I'll go home right away once I'm done with my business. Good. I do not have enough leisure time to socialize with children either. Keep your questions concise. As expected, I fucking hate this guy. Feels like he can read my mind and I feel intimidated when I talk to him. So, what is it that you wanted to talk about, Imyashiro? I believe I have already told you everything I can. Don't lie. You must have known about it. My father was Saber's master and he destroyed the Holy Grail. You're the supervisor that manages the Holy Grail, so you must... Oh. Did Saber say that? Yeah, I heard that's how the previous war went. The priest sinks into silence as if pondering. It is unusual for a servant to retain their previous memories. Maybe Saber is a failure, or Saber herself is abnormal. Either way, you cannot claim she is a normal servant. Heroic spirits do not retain memories. There would be contradictions even if they did, since they are summoned into many ages, the past, present, and future. All they have are memories from when they were alive. Anything that happens to them after they become a heroic spirit should not remain in their memory. The priest ponders as he must not assent to the fact. I see. He doesn't know that Saber isn't a complete heroic spirit yet, so he's having trouble understanding. No, that's wrong. Seems that Saber's circumstances are different from other servants. Different circumstances? I see. So that must be why you came here. Alright, go ahead. I don't like his haughty attitude, but this is no time to oppose him. I don't like it, but this priest might give me some answers. It seems Saber isn't dead yet. She still hasn't completed the contract to become a heroic spirit. Something like she wished for the Holy Grail on the verge of her death, and she agreed to become a heroic spirit as a price for obtaining it. So she isn't dead yet. She won't die until she obtains the Holy Grail, and she said she'll become a complete servant once she does so. Not dead? Then that must mean Saber is still in the cycle of rebirth. So she is not removed from the concept of time like other heroic spirits. Right. I think that's it. Tosaka said Saber's frozen in time by herself. I see. So rather than disappearing after she accomplishes something, she continues to be summoned as a heroic spirit until she obtains the Holy Grail. But the Holy Grail has not yet obtained, so she returns to her deathbed every time she fails. And she has been summoned into this time as well, bearing all her previous memories. Obtaining the Holy Grail in order to die. I do not understand heroes. And even if she does obtain it, all that is left for her is to be summoned as a servant. That's right. Even if she does obtain the Holy Grail and gets her wish granted, she'll just become like the other servants, right? I don't like that. Anyways, what are servants? They say it's making heroes your familiars, but can that even be possible for a contradictory hero like Saber? I do not understand this system. Eternal continuation of the soul, the servant is constructed by imitating that secret process. Only the deviser would know about this. Eternal continuation of the soul. No, that is just the past. It has nothing to do with this matter, so forget about it. So, Miyashiro, you are saying that you want her to stop being a servant, correct? Did he guess right? I certainly think Saber's situation is strange. It's fine that she wants to obtain the Holy Grail, but all that awaits her is elimination. If a king other than King Arthur is chosen and King Arthur is no more, I think it's wrong for her to be summoned as the hero King Arthur after that. So if she can stop being a servant and live as a normal human being, that is impossible. Dead people will not come back to life, even if her time is stopped. Saber is already dead for us. The power of the Holy Grail summons her into this time because she accepted the price of becoming a heroic spirit. If she does not seek the Holy Grail, she will not be summoned as a servant. And as long as she seeks the Holy Grail, she will become a complete servant sooner or later. Even if she fails this time, she has infinite chances. Since Saber is still in the loop of time, she cannot be in two chances to obtain the Holy Grail at once, and she cannot redo a chance she has already failed. She will fail a chance she has already failed, no matter how many times she tries. When she has experienced the result, she will not be able to change it. But still, it should only be a matter of time before she obtains the Holy Grail. This is not the only opportunity for her. Trials to obtain the Holy Grail exist in all ages. If she continues to challenge each one, she will obtain the Holy Grail. From the beginning, she is being summoned as a heroic spirit because she obtained the Holy Grail as a result. From the moment she appeared in front of you, there was no way to stop her from becoming a servant. I thought so. As long as Saber seeks the Holy Grail, there's no way to stop her from being a servant. After that, she'll continue like this unless Saber herself decides to use the Holy Grail for her own sake. Even if this Holy Grail ends, there's no need to fight anymore. She will go on to the next chance to obtain the Holy Grail if she cannot obtain it this time. Once she attains it, she'll become this heroic spirit thing and be sent out to many ages. Then she'll continue to be a servant, whether she obtains the Grail or not. No, that is not the case. If the Holy Grail is truly omnipotent, it will be able to save Saber. Huh? But you just said that was impossible. Yes, it is impossible to stop Saber from becoming a servant, but your wish is for her to stay in this world, is it not? Then it is not that difficult. You are able to keep her here as a human even after the Holy Grail War ends, although she will return once she dies. How do I do that? The heroic spirits and servants are spurious. Normally, what is summoned as a heroic spirit does not have a mind. It is summoned as a tool to meet an objective, and disappears. But servants are different. They are the true body summoned by the Holy Grail, so they can live as humans just by keeping them in this world. You can do such a thing? Saber said she disappeared when the Holy Grail was destroyed. Isn't it true that servants can't stay if the Holy Grail is gone? Of course. The Holy Grail merely summons these servants, and it is the role of the Master to maintain them after that. But that is possible only because the Holy Grail is aiding the Master. The magical energy of a magus is not enough to obtain a servant. If one does not have a donor called the Holy Grail, their servant will disappear. I thought so, then. No, if you do not have enough, all you need is to compensate for that. For servants, furnishing magical energy is only an act of compensation. It is their true nature to consume souls. If their existence starts to fade, it can be replenished using other souls. What? Does that mean attacking random people like Shinji did? Don't be ridiculous, I can't do such a thing. First of all, Saber wouldn't want to stay if she had to go that far. I see. Then you would have to use the contents of the Holy Grail. It is simple. If you want Saber to live as a human being, have her consume the Holy Grail. So, like, eat it? He must have predicted my response. The priest's expressions tell me that he was waiting to reach this conclusion from the beginning. You mean, have the Holy Grail grant my wish? No, it has nothing to do with your wish. It is the contents of the Holy Grail itself. Did you not hear from Reen? Servants are able to start a second life by drinking the water of the Holy Grail. That only means they have become a familiar summoned in this age. Their bodies will still be that of a servant, but they will still be able to stay in this world as long as their master is alive. But that means that hasn't solved anything. And if she can stay in this world, it's meaningless if she's still a servant. She can't exist without magical energy from her master, and even if she stays in this world like that, she returns to that hill after she dies. And Saber wouldn't do it. She isn't interested in a second life, and she said she's going to use the Holy Grail for another purpose. Oh, but first of all, the key to everything is the Holy Grail. Does it mean it still exists in this world? I get it. That just means I have to obtain the Holy Grail, right? But does the Holy Grail still exist? If my father destroyed it, then what? If there's no Holy Grail, there's no reason to fight. This ridiculous fight is pointless. You have no reason to fight, huh? Why do you say that now? You had no reason to fight from the very beginning. As he says so, time freezes. No reason to fight. That's what this priest told me before. At that time, I just became a master and I didn't have much of a reason to fight. That's why I ignored it. And I thought it was just sarcasm. But what about now? I have a reason to fight. If there is a Holy Grail, I want to end this fight and give it to Saber. I have a reason. I have a reason to fight. So why do his words make my body shake so much that I want to vomit? Well, forget about that for now. Now is not the time to open up your wounds. I hear a voice I don't want to hear, but it makes my mysterious nausea stop. There is a Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is only a vessel anyways. If it goes away, the Preparer will prepare another one. The Preparer will prepare another one? Is the Holy Grail that easy to make? Just making the vessel is. Of course, one needs an appropriate skill, but the Holy Grail war could not come to be without such a skill. First of all, the Holy Grail is not a cup that received the blood of God. It was based on a magical pot passed down from ancient times. You should know about it if you are a magus. Utopia. It means an unreachable place in Greek. It is said that an omnipotent vessel exists there. And there were Magi who tried to reproduce the omnipotent vessel. There were the three families, Ainsburn, Makiri, and Tosaka. They spent many generations researching this ritual to reproduce the omnipotent vessel and completed it 200 years ago. That was the first Holy Grail War, the ritual that summoned the omnipotent vessel to the artificial Holy Grail to open up the path. Ainsburn? You mean Elia's family? Yes. The Ainsburn specialized in the golden rule of the line. They were the best suited to make an imitation of the Holy Grail. But they cannot summon the Holy Grail with just that. They need a suitable land and a strong curse. The ones who provided those were the Tosakas and the Makiri. At that time, the Church and the Magic Association were in the middle of a bloody war. A far eastern land was chosen as the place for the ritual. Ainsburn must have invited Tosaka in because Tosaka was in charge of the land around here, and their master was a master of summoning. For Ainsburn, the summoning of that Grail would be impossible without the help of Tosaka. But betrayal could easily occur with two families involved. They must have thought three should be involved, as they also brought in the Makiri family. The Makiris are a family with history as well. They were the family skilled with familiars. It was they that came up with the command spell to bind the servants. And they worked together to summon the Holy Grail, but when they succeeded, what came after was blood killing. Bloody killing. The first summoning of the Holy Grail ended while they were busy killing each other. As generations passed, they made rules called the Holy Grail War, and went back to cooperating, at least in form. Tosaka provided this land and the mystery to the model in the system to model the servants, and the Makiri provided the command spell to bind these servants. And Einsburn supplies the vessel for the Holy Grail to dwell in. That is the cooperation they decided on. The priest continues happily as if something pleases him, but I see. They say the Holy Grail is a ritual, but Ilia's family was the original proposers. It was the Einsburns that prepared the Holy Grail. As they were betrayed by Kuritsugu last time, they have thrown in their greatest trump card. The daughter of Einsburn probably holds the Holy Grail war thing. Ilia has the Holy Grail. That's weird. I don't think she had anything with her. Well, are you happy now? I do not know what troubles you, but the only way to solve it is to use the Holy Grail. Now that you know that, go home. The battle is not over yet. You're crazy to be walking about without having Saber by your side. That's none of your business. I know there's still Lancers, Master. Hold on. There's one more thing I need to ask him. Kotomine. Servants will disappear once the Holy Grail disappears. That's what you said, right? Yes. Do you have a problem with that? I do. I don't know who it is. There is an eighth servant. According to Saber, he has remained in this world since the previous war. What? It must have been a surprise. Kotomine opens his eyes and mutters in disbelief. What's going on? I came here since I thought you would know. So you are saying there is a servant that did not disappear? It is not that strange. The previous war ended with Saber destroying the Grail. So in other words, there was still another servant left. Saber disappeared by her own will, but if a servant wished to stay, the answer is simple. He must have acquired the magical energy he needed by feeding on souls and living these past 10 years. That's ridiculous. His presence was absurd. You or my father certainly would have noticed if that thing had been around 10 years. For 10 years. I know. Someone was probably hiding him. The servant's master, or what? A magus who knew about the Holy Grail but did not become a master. I know one such person, but that is impossible as well. The old Makiri has already retired. Kotomine must be satisfied as he gets up from the sofa. That is it. I cannot let this be as a supervisor. I shall investigate that servant. You should concentrate on your remaining battle with Lancer. Kotomine walks to the exit if there's nothing more to talk about. Well, there's certainly nothing more to be gained from being here. I leave the dark room and follow Kotomine, who leads me to the exit silently.